When we think of weight loss, most Americans start to think of what they can't have. No sweets, no carbs, no alcohol, very few calories, etc. But what if we flip the script to start thinking about what we can have in order to reach our goals instead? Welcome back to Amanda Widener Wellness. My name is Amanda. I'm so excited to have you here. On this channel, we talk about all things weight loss, weight management, tools like GLP1s, fitness, nutrition, and everything in between. Today, we're going to take a critical look at how diet culture has impacted society's view on weight loss, nutrition, and exercise, how that has impacted our own biases, possibly sabotaging our success with weight loss, and how we can work to overcome it. But before we get into all of that, I have a disclaimer. I am not a doctor or a healthcare provider. And while I am a personal trainer and group fitness instructor, I am not your personal trainer or group fitness instructor, so please speak with your doctor and wellness team before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or medication regimen. Everything on this channel is based on my opinions and experiences. And I hope that you will like and subscribe because it helps to grow the channel and I don't want you to miss my next video. All right, so let's dive into today's topic. Morelove.com defines diet culture as the, quote, the belief that all bodies can and should be thin and that diets, food restrictions, and exercise are the simple solutions to losing weight. Diet culture is the natural response to weight stigma, which criticizes and discriminates against larger bodies, unquote. Many of us have been influenced by diet culture in conscious and subconscious ways that have led to us not having the best relationships with food. For many of us who have the disease of overweight or obesity, the impacts of culture combined with our chronic relapsing condition can have negative consequences on our overall well-being and self-confidence. So how do we overcome this influence that diet culture has had on us for most of or all of our lives? First, we need to understand that obesity is a chronic relapsing disease. The American Medical Association officially recognized it as a chronic disease in 2013. Other major organizations defining it as a disease include the World Health Organization, the National Institutes of Health, and the World Obesity Foundation. This recognition helps to reduce stigma, improve treatment access, and increase research funding. And it also helps patients like us better understand that this is a medical condition that requires treatment and it is not a moral failure. For some patients, speaking with a healthcare provider and making a plan to treat the chronic disease of obesity is enough, and they may not require any additional assistance. Others may need medical interventions like GLP1s or bariatric procedures or treatment, and still others may require additional interventions like therapy to help them reprogram how diet culture has made them relate weight to moral value and personal worth. Therapy can be incredibly helpful with overcoming food stigmas and recognizing ED, especially the thought processes that go along with that we may not recognize within ourselves. If you're looking into therapy and that's something that you want to consider, I highly recommend seeking a mental health care provider who specializes in intensive behavioral therapy for obesity specifically. Once we understand that obesity is a chronic disease and we have a plan with our healthcare provider for treatment, we then need to understand that just like many other chronic conditions, there is currently no cure for obesity. We can treat it, we can lose weight, we can reach our goals, but we will always have the disease of obesity, and we will always need to continue treating that disease or symptoms will return or relapse. That's a big reason why I plan to continue on with my GLP-1 medication indefinitely. Just like how a patient takes blood pressure medication and they wouldn't stop it just because their blood pressure regulates, I won't stop taking my medicine to treat my disease of obesity just because I lose weight. Because if I do, I will more than likely regain the weight that I lost and have additional symptoms in the future. I need to continue on with treatment in order to have long-term benefits. So now that we have all of this sorted, we can start to reframe our mindset around food and exercise. And that's kind of what I really wanted to dive into in today's video. So for many of us, when we think of weight loss, we think about eating as little as possible and then exercising to excess. But that's definitely not the best practice. That leads to inevitable overeating or burning out, especially when it comes to exercise. Instead, we want to think about nourishing our bodies and moving in a kind and loving way. But how do we do that? So first, when you think about, we want to think about food and changing that thought process. You want it to be not about dieting, but instead about fueling your body in a really positive way. You have to eat to live. So good brain function, in order to have good brain function, in order to live your life and to be able to move your body in the way that you want to, you have to fuel it. You also have to stop thinking about food as being good or bad. Food is simply fuel. It doesn't have moral value, and therefore it can't be good or bad. Some food has better nutritional benefits than other, but it's all just fuel. It's all just energy for your body. So just like filling the tank of your car, you have to fuel your body in order for it to run. So you have to feed yourself. Being in too deep of a calorie deficit, it means you're not giving your vehicle enough fuel, okay? So nourish your vehicle, your body, with macro and micronutrients that you can enjoy and that give you good health, good benefits of health, So things like lean proteins, like chicken and turkey and fish, healthy fibers, lots of fruits and vegetables of various colors for those macronutrients or for those micronutrients. You want minimally processed carbs, healthy fats, and yes, even some of your favorite fun foods in moderation. So instead of thinking about how you must restrict yourself from certain foods that you enjoy, try thinking about what you can add to your plate to get the most out of mealtime. Can you add protein? Can you add fiber? Could you add more fruits and vegetables? Maybe toss on some extra chicken or serve it with a side salad. Adding to your meals takes away the restriction mindset and it gives you the health benefits that you really want. It's also going to leave you feeling fuller and more satisfied than trying to restrict yourself to too few calories per day, right? I do this every single day and it's helped me to lose 108 pounds in the last 14 months. If I'm not super hungry, I have smaller meals with a main focus on protein. So I might do like a protein shake or a Greek yogurt. If I'm more hungry, I'm going to try to balance my plate with lean protein like chicken, turkey, fish. And then I'm going to add fiber, fruits and vegetables. And then I'm going to add on like some sort of lower processed carb like potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, quinoa, oats, that sort of thing. Many times I plan a dinner and then I think, what can I add to the dinner? So what vegetable can I add on to this? What additional protein could I add on to this? What healthy fat am I missing that I could add on to this for the day? So by adding on to my plate, I always feel like I'm getting more than I need and I manage to get full. That leaves me feeling satisfied and it also leaves me unable to overindulge in like sweets and treats later because I've had a really satisfying meal. So I still have fun foods. I still have things like pizza and burgers and like homemade mozzarella sticks and things like that. But instead of overindulging in the fun food, I have a portion of it and then I think, what can I add to this? So for example, if we're doing a pizza night, instead of eating 4 slices of pizza to feel full, I might have 1 or 2 and then think, what can I add to my plate to feel full? So with pizza, I might think, well, I only have pepperoni on this. Could I add some extra protein to my plate? So maybe I'll grab a couple pieces of chicken, I'll throw that on the pizza or next to the pizza. And then what could I add for fiber? I'll put a side salad on there. Maybe I'll do a side salad with chicken on it. And then I've added, so by adding a side salad with chicken and a little bit of like a healthy fat dressing, like some sort of vinaigrette, then I have added fiber, protein, and a healthy fat to my fun food. That's gonna leave me feeling really full. It's gonna leave me satisfied because I ate something I really enjoy. And I'm gonna have eaten such a large dinner that I'm not gonna wanna overindulge later because I'm satisfied with what I've had. So the same goes with exercise. Many of us have been led to believe that in order to reach our weight loss goal, we must work out every single day for hours and hours. And that's simply not the case. Weight loss is like 90% diet. And as much as we hate to hear it, it's about how many calories we consume versus how many we're burning. So calories in versus calories out. And there's many reasons why calorie intake could be higher than output. Things like medication, portion control, metabolic conditions, all of that can impact the way your body processes calories. And that would be something to address with your healthcare provider. If you think that you have more calories going out than coming in and you're not losing weight, speak with your healthcare provider because they can run some tests to see if there's something else going on there. However, exercise can help you by burning extra calories, therefore helping you to reach a calorie deficit, which would result in weight loss. But burning those calories is really hard work, and you can still outwork your work or out-eat your workout, leaving you in a calorie surplus when you're trying to be in a deficit. So just because you're working out doesn't mean you can just go eat whatever you want. You still have to be really intentional with portion control and making sure that you have the proper macro and micronutrients, meaning you're eating lots of protein, fiber, and healthy fats in moderation. You're not overindulging, you're not eating too much throughout the day, right? You're trying to stay in a reasonable amount. Eat when you're hungry, don't eat when you're not. And then you are exercising in moderation on top of that to give yourself a little bit more of a deficit just to kind of speed along the weight loss. But overdoing the exercise is not going to give you free reign to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, because you're going to out eat that exercise burn. And over exercising too much will lead to an increase in appetite, which will make you eat more. And you're still going to end up overeating that weight loss, or you're going to burn out and no longer be able to continue on an exercise because you're too physically exhausted or you're injured. So we want to avoid that by managing our exercise in a really efficient manner. And so how do we do that? Well, we want to change our mindset around exercise, and changing that mindset around exercise can be really liberating. So instead of seeing it as a punishment for the food that you've eaten, you need to start seeing it as a tool for living a better life. Even a lower intensity exercise regimen can have huge benefits for long-term health. You don't have to hit a HIIT class 5 days a week or spend hours in the weight room to get fit. You just need to nourish your body well, to fuel your body, and then move it in some way that's manageable and enjoyable every single day. So things like walking, swimming, yoga, chair fitness, they can all help you move your body and increase your total daily energy expenditure, which is your calorie burn, and help you get your heart rate up so you can see some of those benefits. You're burning extra calories to help you get to that deficit, and you're getting some cardio benefits from blood pumping through your body. If you want to see, you want to reap the benefits of a slightly higher intensity workout, something a little bit more moderate or high intensity, then you want to remember that you don't need to do those exercises every single day. You need to allow some time between them. It's the same thing with lifting weights. You have to allow your body time to rest and recover between moderate and high intensity workouts or intense lifting sessions. So if you live for a cardio dance class and find joy in intense Orange Theory session, or you just can't get enough out of increasing the weights in the weight room, do it, but allow yourself a couple of days per week for active recovery. So if you are going to a HIIT class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you want to make sure that you are doing much more easy, leisurely recovery activities Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Give your body time to recover. Same with the weight room. If you're lifting really intensely Monday, Wednesday, Friday, give yourself time to recover, or stack your workouts so that you're doing shorter sessions on targeted muscle groups one day and then different muscle groups the following day. So you're giving your body a full opportunity to recover from the workout the day before. Okay. Active recovery that you're doing on your rest days means that you aren't working out at your usual level, but you're still doing something that's kind and gentle to move your body that day. So things like walking, stretching, yoga, golf, gardening, swimming, biking, those types of things. Lately, I've really been enjoying playing pickleball when I can, or taking this lower intensity dance class. It keeps my body moving, but I'm not like sweating and stuff like that. I'm just having a good time with friends. So those are really great ways to spend your active rest days. The American Heart Association recommends that adults for exercise get at least 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity aerobic activity, or 75 minutes per week of vigorous aerobic activity, or some sort of combination of the both, right? Now, if you're not at a moderate or vigorous activity level yet, that's okay. Stick with that lower intensity level. Meet yourself where you are today. Eventually, you might get to one of these higher levels, and then you can work at this level. But in the meantime, do what your body is ready to do today. Then other things that the American Heart Association recommends: add moderate to high intensity muscle strengthening activity like resistance training or using weights at least 2 days a week. So think about it like this. You want to be doing 150 minutes of moderate exercise. So you could do 2 hour-long sessions and a 30-minute session of cardio, and then 2 strength training sessions per week, right? So that'd be, you could work out 5 days a week. You could do an hour-long cardio, a 30-minute strength session, an hour of cardio, a 30-minute strength section, and then a 30-minute cardio, whatever that looks like. Or you could do 75 minutes of high intensity. So you could do 1 HIIT class, 2 strength classes, and the rest of your week is rest, right? So there's different ways that you can achieve that, but that's what the AHA recommends. You want to spend less time sitting, so even light intensity activity can offset some of the risks of being sedentary. So if that's the level you're at, getting up and walking around the room on a commercial break, or just standing up and sitting down out of your chair a few times is better than just sitting there and not doing anything at all. You could make a goal to be able to walk around your living room, and you're going to try to take a few steps. And then if you're tired, sit back down. Next time, try to walk a couple extra steps. You can make a goal of going out for a 10-minute walk after each meal. And that's your goal for a while. Stay there till you're comfortable. And then maybe you're going to make it a 12-minute walk, right? So you can find ways to move your body more that's not super intense. And then eventually maybe your body will get you up to that 150 or 75 minutes that the AHA recommends. They also recommend that you're going to get more benefits by being active at least 300 minutes per week, which is 5 hours. So if you are at a level where your body could handle 5-hour-long workouts throughout the week, try to get there. It doesn't have to be crazy intense. It could be moderate to light to moderate intensity for 5 hours a week. You're going to see a lot of benefits from that for your cardiovascular health. But increase the amount of exercise and the intensity of your exercise gradually over time. Start slow, start small, meet yourself where you are today, make small achievable goals, and you will see your progress over time. So I like to use my walking example. I started walking, that was probably 8 months ago now. And I started with a 20-minute walk. I was walking very slow. My 20-minute walk was 1 mile. And so that's where I started, 20 minutes, 1 mile, and I was done. Eventually that turned to 25 minutes, then 30 minutes, then 30 minutes turned to 45, then that turned to an hour. And then slowly over the course of that hour, I was walking faster, so I was walking more mileage. Eventually that 1 hour went from walking 2 miles to, in that hour, I can now walk 3.5 miles. In fact, I'm walking about 3.6 miles in that hour. So I keep getting a little bit faster with it. I'm either going to have to change things up eventually or start running, and I don't think I'm going to be running. So I'm going to change things up a little bit. Maybe 2 shorter sessions or 2 35-minute sessions to get myself the level I want to be at without pushing too far. We'll see. But I'm slowly increasing how far I'm going, and I'm slowly increasing how much time I'm exercising to meet myself where I am today. If I tried to go all out from day one, walking 3.5 miles in an hour, I would have given up the second day. So don't push yourself that far. When it comes to exercise, it's not about going super hard, super fast, all out from day one. It's about finding something that's enjoyable that you can manage and building up a goal to get where you want to be eventually, and have small goals in between the two to get you there. That's how you want to move forward in exercise, because you don't want to burn out and you don't want to injure yourself. You want to find something that's sustainable over time. So changing our mindsets around food and exercise is definitely not easy. We've been taught by society to think a certain way for our entire lives, but with small changes, we can get there. So be patient and kind to yourself along the way. If you start to notice that you're negatively talking about yourself, that negative self-talk pops up around food or around exercise, stop, pause, and thank yourself for what you are able to do. Because even if you're only on day one, you've already made a commitment to yourself to start. And that is better than you were yesterday, right? If you have made a commitment to start on focusing on nutrition and or exercise, that is a step in the right direction. If you're on week 1 and you have just started tracking your food, stop with the negative self-talk and thank yourself for starting to track your food, because that's progress over where you were last week. If you're at the end of month 1 and you started a GLP1 medication and you're finally starting to feel like you're in a routine, stop with the negative self-talk and say, I've committed the last 4 weeks to myself. I'm proud of that. Okay, so it's about pausing and thanking yourself for what you have done, not what you haven't done. Because if you constantly think about what you haven't done, you're never gonna get where you wanna go. So thank yourself for what you have done, because that's what's gonna push you to keep going to get you where you wanna be. So find ways to feed yourself that allow you to feel satisfied, and add to your plate instead of thinking about what you need to take away from it. Add to your plate so that you can enjoy things instead of feeling restricted. If we're restricting ourselves, then we are eventually going to feel like we can't have any of the foods that we want, and we're not getting joy out of something that is not only vital for living, but also like a big part of our social lives and our family lives. Sitting around the table, breaking bread with our family, with our friends, going out to dinner, holiday parties, food is at all of these. And so we need to find a way to add to what we're eating so that we feel satisfied and we can maintain it for a long term, versus restricting ourselves and kind of isolating ourselves because we feel like we can't be a part of that. Then try to find ways to move your body that bring you joy. It doesn't have to be intense. Exercise doesn't have to be something that you hate. There are so many different ways to move your body that there is something out there for everybody. Maybe your way of moving your body is playing VR for an hour a day. My son loves the VR. Do I love that he loves the VR? No, but I don't mind it because he will be out here dancing around doing something on the VR, just breaking a sweat. And so he's moving his body, he's getting his heart rate up, and it's really enjoyable for him. If I asked him to go run on the treadmill, he would look at me like I had 6 heads. He doesn't like that. It doesn't bring him joy. But doing the VR brings him joy and it doesn't feel like exercise. So I know that if he needs to get some exercise in, I could tell him to go do an hour on the VR, and I know that he's moved his body and everybody's happy. So find something that you enjoy. It could be swimming, walking, running, pickleball, tennis, golf, gardening. It could be kayaking or canoeing. It could be going to the gym. It could be, I'm trying to think, there's so many different things out there. Find a dance class, find a cardio dance class. Some people like Zumba, some people like work, right? They prefer hip hop. Some people like HIIT style classes, some people like kickboxing, some people like yoga, some people like intense yoga, some like not intense yoga. There's videos on YouTube that you could follow along with. There's walking challenges. There are walking groups. If you prefer to work out socially, but you don't want to go to a gym, go on Facebook and look for groups that are in activities that you might be interested in. There's so many ways around the world for you to move your body. Find one that really brings you joy so that you look forward to doing it, because that's the factor when it comes to exercise. You're not trying to burn off what you eat. You're trying to get cardiovascular and resistance training benefits for your body for long-term health and success. So you don't want it to be extreme. You want it to be manageable. And remember, your self-worth is not dependent on a number on the scale. You, right now, are a whole person. And you deserve to live your life in a happy and healthy way that feels manageable. So don't push yourself to be restricted or to work out in a way that is not sustainable. You've got this. It's about making small changes over time, and I fully believe that together we can achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you found some value in today's video. If you did, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps to grow the channel so I can bring you more videos talking about the topics that help us achieve our goals. And in the comments, let me know what you're doing today to push yourself forward towards achieving your goals. Thank you again for joining me on Amanda Widener Wellness, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.